What they call occupied territory is nothing more than what Yahweh calls the cities of Judah. Those are the cities of Judah. And we're going to go back in time a few years this morning. Let's go back approximately 3,500 years. Before there was a CNN, before there was a Fox News Network, before there was Ashley Banfield reporting from Jerusalem, before there was Christiana Amanpour reporting from the Palestinian occupied territories. Let's see who these cities and who this land truly belongs to. Let's see who it truly belongs to. O cities of Yehudah, behold, your Elohim is coming. The Master Yahweh will come. What is the solution to this mess? What is the solution to our people living in terror and subject to terror? The solution is Yeshua must come again. Just like he came the first time. And it'll be Yeshua who identifies who these cities belong to. Because the world has been lying to us. The people, as I said before, the people of Israel have no time to spin. They're fighting for their survival. It is the spin doctors of the Palestinian spin machine that go on TV and tell you that Israel must end its occupation. Israel must get out of our territories. Israel must, in other words, they said that, how many have heard them say that the Israeli occupation is now over 35 years old, making it the longest occupation in the history of the modern world. That's a nice spin, isn't it? And there's not a nation on this earth that does not believe that. Do you realize that? There's not a government on this earth that does not believe that. It is only the few pockets of Judah and Ephraim that don't believe that. That they believe that the cities on the west bank of the Yarden River not only belong to the people of Israel, the 12 tribes, Judah and Ephraim, but have always belonged to the people of Israel and will always eternally belong to the people of Israel. We're the only ones. Bible believers are the only ones. It is dangerous to turn on the news. Because if Adolf Hitler, our enemy, said, if you tell a lie long enough, often enough, people will believe it. They'll turn that lie and people will start believing it's true. But Baruch Hashem Yahweh, that his word corrects us from all error. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, that his word protects our ears, our mind, and our heart. The word says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it proceed the issues of life. And the way we guard our heart is with the truth. And it's not the Palestinian spin machine. It's not the State Departments and the foreign ministries of this world that will give you the truth. It is Isaiah chapter 40, verse 9, where Yahweh says, look, Elohim is coming. And when he came to the first time, he came to the mountains of Sion. And his message was, be not afraid. Al tira, don't be afraid. Your Elohim is here. And your Elohim will reign from Jerusalem. That's a funny thing. Jerusalem is located where? On the Palestinian occupied West Bank. So until Yeshua personally gets rid of the Palestinians from the cities of Judah, the kingdom cannot be set up. The kingdom cannot be established. We talk about Yeshua's coming. Yeshua's going to set up his throne. Yeshua's going to rule and reign the nations. But that cannot happen until Yeshua himself brings Palestinian occupation to an end. But here's the message today, saints of Yahweh, Raphaim of Yahweh, whole ones. The king is coming. He's coming to remove the squatters from the cities of Yehudah.
Yes.
Because he cannot set up his kingdom while these folks are in the way. Amen? He cannot. So when Israel does it, they take these pictures and use them for propaganda around the world and say, look at those Zionists. Look how they're mistreating the poor Palestinians. No heart, no compassion. 60% unemployment, despair, hopelessness. Look how they're treating these poor people. Where's the heart of Israel, the Zionists? Israel is a military occupying power. And you know, it's a spirit of seduction. S.A.10 works through a spirit of seduction. And if you listen, and if you don't guard your ears, and if you don't guard your heart, you start to believe this stuff. Even I as a rabbi, even we as Bible believers are susceptible to seduction. Some of you have been watching the news with great concern and great trepidation, great anxiety. And that is what the devil, S.A.10, wants to do. Make us anxious, wondering, are our people Israel acting in righteousness? Are they acting in justice? Are they doing the right thing? And so we even question the government of Israel. Let's be honest. Many of us have even questioned the government of Israel. Isn't there another way? Can't there be another solution to this? Is there another way than to go from house to house and arresting people and blowing up homes that are basically factories for making bombs and ammunition? Isn't there another way? And brothers and sisters, you think about what I'm telling you. There's not a nation on this earth that has not bought into the Palestinian propaganda that is Israeli occupied territory and they have occupied the land of the Palestinian people. Well, as in all matters, let's see what Yahweh has to say about the subject. Because when you know the truth, it sets you free from the spin doctrine. It sets you free from the propagandists. It sets you free from the Arabists in the State Department. Think of the gravity of the situation. But Yahweh's message is the same as it was when we were under Roman occupation some 2,000 years ago. Fear not. Al tireh. Al tireh. Go with me, please, to 2 Shmuel 5:1.
Set you free from Sunday worship and food.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. 2 Shmuel 5:1. Let's take a close look at what the world calls the West Bank of Yarden, or the occupied West Bank. Let's take a close look. We've been told by the media and by the Palestinian propaganda machine that Hebron, that the Israeli military action is not ceasing, and neither is it being curtailed. But as the days progress, it is expanding to the entire Palestinian occupied West Bank. Have you heard that in the last few days? It started out in Ramallah, then it went to Bethlehem, then it went to Jenin, and now it's even expanded to Hebron. And so the media and the governments of this world have the entire world believing that rather than respecting our President Bush, Israel continues to expand their illegal military occupation. Because after all, every intelligentsia, every aristocrat, anyone who ever has any kind of secular or historical education knows that the Jews don't belong there. Everybody knows that. There's only one person who doesn't know that. Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Because the flower fades, the grass withers, But the word of Yahweh endures forever. And that's why our message to our Jewish people have to be, and to Ephraim, who are concerned for their brother Judah, who care about their brother Judah. The message of the hour is not get out. The message of the hour is fear not. Elohim is coming.
Amen.
Elohim is coming to solve the Palestinian occupation of the Israeli West Bank. See, they tell you it's the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian West Bank. No, it's the Palestinian occupation of the Israeli West Bank. Every State Department, every defense ministry, every foreign ministry, all the intelligentsia and aristocrats of this world pumping out the propaganda that Israel must immediately end occupation. Immediately, this cannot continue. The humiliation and destruction of the Palestinian people must come to an immediate. We beseech the President, we beseech the Department of State to tell Israel they must immediately remove their tanks. Well, let me ask you a question before we get to the word.
I love it.
How many days now has the Israeli military operation been conducted? How many days has it been conducted? We're now on, I think, the 8th day? We're in the 8th day? How many Palestinian suicide bombings in Haifa, Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem have occurred in the last 7 days? That was the first day. That was the first day. It's working. It works. No suicide bombing. Now, you would think that these are freedom fighters. The media tells us, every media, not just some, every media you happen to turn into, newspapers, New York Times, Washington Post, doesn't matter. They say, you know, it's not the suicide bombers. It's the atmosphere that creates, that breathes these suicide bombers. If we can end the atmosphere that breathes the suicide bomber. You ever heard that? It's the poverty, it's the lack of education. It's the hopelessness, it's the despair that breeds, and that's Israel as a colonial power. If Israel would end the despair, the suicide bombers would automatically stop. And that's why they tell us this propaganda, that they're not martyrs. I'm sorry, they're not terrorists. They're martyrs. And they want to die for the cause of Allah. Because Allah is hungry for Jewish blood. And in order to appease their mighty one, they always have to be in search of new Jews. And these are not murderers. They tell us. These are martyrs. Well, let me ask you a question, brothers and sisters. Have you seen any martyrs out on the streets of Ramallah recently? Have you seen any martyrs on the streets of Jericho? Have you seen any martyrs on the streets of Haifa? I haven't seen them for 8 days. If they're so hungry for Jewish blood, come and get me. Come and get us. We're right in front of your homes. You don't even have to go and cross the border. You don't even have to go into Israel. We're right in front of your home. Come out, throw a hand grenade at us. Come on and stab us, attack us, shoot at us. We're right in your city. After all, we're the Israelis supposedly is the occupying military colonial imperialist power, and you want to kill Jews because not only do you want the Jews off the West Bank of Jordan, you want them out of the Middle East altogether. What better way to start pushing them into the Mediterranean Ocean than start killing them in front of your house? After all, they don't belong in front of your house. They're on your land. But I haven't seen that, have you? Have you? Has anyone seen that? What happened to all the martyrs? They're gutless. They're spineless. They have no chutzpah. Because if they want Israel, they can come and get the people of Israel right now. They're right outside the door. Oh, but they don't want to deal with tanks. They don't want to deal with machine guns and automatic. They want to deal with shoppers. They want to deal with children in schools. They want to deal with pedestrians on the Jerusalem street. They want to deal with tourists in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, the innocent and the defenseless. If they're martyrs, then all you got to do, sweetheart, is roll down right in front of the street and ask the tank to run over you.
Right.
You understand the sickness of what we're dealing with here? The lies. And remember, Satan works through a spirit of seduction. And so the seduction spirit is, if the Jews withdraw, the conflict will end. And unfortunately, Satan can work on any heart, even a saved heart, even a sanctified heart.
Mm-hmm.
If the Jews would only get out, we can begin or get back to the peace table. Is that what we've been taught? Is that what we've heard? If the Jews would only get out. Well, guess what? We did get out. We ended the occupation of Lebanon. Did we not? Were not Israeli soldiers in southern Lebanon?
Yes.
How many Israeli soldiers are there today in southern Lebanon? 0. And now Hezbollah has just started shooting and attacking Israelis from southern Lebanon. We're not in Lebanon. They said, if you get out, we won't shoot at you and we'll leave you alone. Okay, we got out of Lebanon and they're starting to war again. Are you with me? Getting out is not going to do anything. Doing it Yahweh's way. Ending the Palestinian occupation of the West Bank of Israel. That is the West Bank of Yisrael. The only way to end this is for Yeshua to return and remove the occupation of his land.
Amen.
It's not even Israeli land, when you come to think about it. It's Yeshua's land.
Amen.
It's Yahweh's land.
Amen.
He's the landlord.
Amen.
And he leased it to the people of Israel. Let's see what Scripture says. So, the world tells us is that Israel's military occupation, so to speak, is now expanding to the ancient city of Hebron. Hebron is Hebron. And they say, we demand that Israel ends their occupation of the entire West Bank, including the city of Hebron. Oh, really? So in other words, Israel's in your land. That's right. So you want Israel out of your land. That's right. Well, now let's go to the word of Yahweh and see what Hebron is. It is a city of Yehudah.
Amen.
It is a city which Yahweh says is not only a city of Israel, it's a city of Yehudah, Judah.
Yeah.
Look at 2 Shmuel 5:1. 2 Shmuel 5:1. And all the tribes of Yisrael came to David at Hebron. Where?
Hebron.
How many tribes came to Hebron? All the tribes. And spoke, saying, look, we are your bone and your flesh. Formerly, when Shaul was sovereign over us, you are the one who led Israel out and brought them in. And Yahweh said to you, shepherd my people Yisrael to rule over Israel. And all the elders of Yisrael came to the sovereign at Hebron. And sovereign David made a covenant with them before Yahweh in Hebron. David was 30 years old when he turned Hebron over to the Palestinians.
No.
Began to rain.
Is that what it says?
No.
I said, is that what it says?
No.
He was 30 years old. He began his reign not in Jerusalem, but in the first capital of the united people of Israel. The first capital of the united 12 tribes of Israel was Hebron.
Amen.
Hebron. This is the same city they're telling us belongs to the Palestinians. David made a covenant with Yahweh and the 12 tribes of Israel to be a good shepherd after Yahweh's heart, to shepherd his people, Yisrael, to serve them all the days of his life, to love them and minister to them, even as the Son of Man did not come to be ministered to, but to minister and give his life a ransom for many. It was in Hebron that David cut a brit, a covenant before Yahweh for all Israel. In Hebron, verse 5, he reigned over Yehudah. 7 years and 6 months he ruled Yisrael, Yehudah. Circle that word, Yehudah. The capital of Yehudah became the capital of all Israel. He ruled from the capital, Hebron, for 7.5 years of his 40-year reign. Now look at this. Perhaps you've never seen this. The two houses, look at me. The two houses were fighting before they split officially in 921 BC. They were fighting, even before they split. And David in 1000 BC managed to take the two fighting houses of Israel and bring them together with being a good shepherd over all the people of Israel. But there was already division. It didn't start with Jeroboam and Rehoboam in 921 BCE. It started before David, in the days of Shmuel, Hanavi. They were already not getting along. So Judah and Ephraim, that we're getting along here in this room, in this final hour, is a miracle of massive proportions. Amen? It's a miracle. A nes gadol hayapo. Massive proportions. That we actually get along, we actually like each other, and the blood of Yeshua unites us in harmony. It's a miracle. But look at the end of verse 5. It was in Hebron that peace came to the conflict between Israel and Yehudah. Look at verse 5. In Hebron, David reigned over Yehudah 7 years, 6 months. In Jerusalem, he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Yehudah. Notice, what started in Hebron was completed in Jerusalem, because look at verse number 1. All the tribes of Israel sought healing from their division in Hebron. Hebron was the place where Yahweh healed the two houses. Hallelujah. To bring them deliverance and salvation and protection. And then when they were healed, they went to Jerusalem. Yes. You with me? Yes. Hebron. David, king of Israel, ruled 7.5 years in Hebron. But CNN tells us that this is Palestinian territory. CNN tells us that we are occupying their land. Oh, really? Was David a Palestinian?
No.
Do you know there were no Palestinians at this time?
No. Yeah, the Philistines.
Yeah. And the Philistines were where? In Gaza. Where they are today. In the Gaza Strip. Okay? But not in Hebron. Now, Hebron is a city of Yehudah. And Israel came to this city of Yehudah and said, David, heal us, reign over us, minister to us, bring us together, and together we're going to follow you to the new city, Yerushalayim, Ir HaKadosh. Now, tonight when you turn on your TV, tomorrow when you pick up your morning paper, that's what they're going to tell you. That Israel must leave Hebron because they are occupying Palestinian land. Yahweh says, Yahweh's opinion is the only one that counts.
Amen.
And Yahweh says it is a place where all Israel is healed. It was the first capital of a healed nation of Israel. Yahweh is true.
Yes, he is.
Let every man be a liar. Because every State Department and foreign ministry, they're lying. Amen? And do you realize the whole world lies in the wake of the wicked one? Do you know there's not a nation on this earth, as we said earlier, that believes that that land belongs to Israel? There's not a nation on this earth. There's not a Defense Department, a foreign ministry, who believes that land belongs to Israel. Even our president, George W. Bush, has called on Israel to leave Hebron.
Even the church.
Hebron. Yes. Yes. That's why there are pockets of Ephraim and Yehudah who read their Bible and say, no, this is the first capital of the people of Israel. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Go with me to Yehoshua. Yehoshua 5 and 3. Somebody want to ask you this morning if you're enjoying? Because I just came to show you what the Word says about this current Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And whether you enjoy or not, that's between you and Yahweh. And I'm not going to shout. And if you've been waiting to sleep through the message, this is a perfect day to do it. Because I'm not going to have anybody wake you up. I want to show you Yahweh's truth versus the Palestinian propaganda machine. Amen? Yehoshua 5:13. Another city of Yehudah on the west bank of the Yarden that, well, before I get there, keep your finger in Yehoshua. Keep your finger in Yehoshua 5. Go to 1 Divrei Hayamim, please. First Chronicles. 1 Divrei Hayamim 6:55. 6:55. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. First Divrei Hayamim 6:55. And they gave them Hebron in the land of Palestine.
Nope.
When the children of Israel divided the land, Hebron was given in the land of Judah, in the land of Yehudah. How many see that? In verse 55. You see that? Hebron is in the land of Yehudah. Hebron is on the west bank of the Yarden River. Yahweh said it was divided among the sons of Judah. What tribe? The tribe of Yehudah. You seeing this clearly, everybody?
Yes.
Everybody seeing this clearly? This is what the media and the Palestinian propaganda machine tell us is Israeli occupied territory, but it's Palestinian occupied territory. They are in the land of Judah. These squatters are in the land of Judah that was divided and given to the tribe of Yehudah. Go with me back to Yehoshua. Yehoshua 5. I intend on it, sister. I'm doing that right now. Right about now. Yehoshua 5. Yehoshua 5. Cities, behold your Elohim. What cities? The cities of Judah. Behold your Elohim, cities of Judah. Yeshua came to the cities of Judah. And the instruction of Yeshayahu was, Judah, behold your Elohim. The cities of Judah. Hebron is the city of Judah. Now there's another city on the west bank, toward the south, on the west bank of the Yarden River. And you may have heard of it. It's called the city of Palm. It was a place where the walls came tumbling down. It is a place where the people of Israel surrounded the walls of the city. How many times? 7 times. And the walls came tumbling down. Jericho, listen to this, was the first city that Israel took when they conquered the land of Canaan. That Yahweh gave it to them. They didn't even have to fight. They were a ragtag army that came out of Egypt, a bunch of slaves, former slaves, bricklayers. Yahweh said, no, but you're the army of Yahweh. But they had never fought a battle. They had never been tested. They had no military experience. Yahweh says, can you sing? Can you blow the shofar?
Amen.
Can you walk and chew gum at the same time? I'm going to give it to you. I am going to give you the city of Jericho. If you could walk, chew gum, blow the shofar, and sing at the same time. That's what we do. We're pretty good at stuff like that, right? That's easy. Blow the shofar, sing, walk around our enemy. And Yahweh said, not only is this the first city of Israel, he said, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. Who gave Jericho to Israel? Yahweh. Yahweh. But do you know that just yesterday or 2 days ago, Israel expanded this current military operation into Jericho, and they're screaming louder than ever. And what are they screaming? Get off of Palestinian territory. Get out. Well, pardon me. Was it the Ark of the Covenant that was with the Palestinians? Was it the priests of Yahweh, the Kohanim, who were part of the Palestinians? Or was it Israel who was given the city of Jericho? And the city of Jericho is in Palestinian-occupied territory as we speak. It is occupied. But Yahweh says in Obadiah, I'm going to bring many saviors to Zion. I'm going to take Joseph, and he's going to light up the nation of Jacob, and so together Ephraim and Judah will be able to burn Esau as stubble, and make them as stubble. Both houses. Judah cannot defeat the Arabs until Ephraim wakes up, knows who he is, joins Judah, and together they will take over the land that Yahweh has given them. Obadiah 18 through 21. Now look at Yehoshua 5 and 13. It came to be that when Joshua, was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes, and look, he saw a man. He's about to meet the commander. Israel had never fought a war. They were slaves in Egypt. The only thing they knew how to do was to make bricks and build pyramids. They had no commander. Even the commander was not trained in battle. Yehoshua was completely uneducated when it came to battle, military prowess. But he met the man. And the man stood opposite Yehoshua with his sword drawn in his hand. And Yehoshua went out to meet him and said to him, A, who are you? B, you with us or against us? Because we don't know what we're doing. All we know is Yahweh said, take the city, and we don't have a clue to what we're doing. Now, this is the first city. We've just come out of Egypt from the east, crossed over into the west side of Jordan, and Yahweh said, I'm going to give it to you, but we don't know how to proceed. So you got a sword, and you look like you're pretty impressive, and you glow pretty, and you're pretty impressive, and you're pretty powerful. You look like you know what you're doing. So number one, who are you? And number two, are you with us, or are you against us? Because Yahweh gave them Jericho. You think about what I'm saying. Jericho was given to Israel. Now watch by who? Verse 14. The man with a sword in verse 14 said, No. For I have come as the captain of the armies of the hosts of Yahweh. Amen. Now you guys, whether you look like it or understand it, you're the army of Yahweh. Amen. And whether you know who I am or don't know who I am your leader. I am your captain. And notice, it was a man. Hello? Yeah. It was a man who had a sword drawn. Yeah. And we know Yeshua is what? The word of Yahweh. Yeah. The sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh. Yeah. And he had his sword drawn, and he said, we're going to take this first city on the west bank of the Jordan, after you cross over the Jordan, not by might, not by power, but by my Ruach. Zechariah 4:6 saith Yahweh. We're going to do this my way. And that's how this conflict will come to an end. It won't be the UN resolution 222, 338. No. It won't be Kofi Annan making a special trip. It won't be Special Envoy Anthony Zinni. Whether he meets with Arafat, doesn't meet with Arafat, in Yasser Arafat's own word, lets them go to hell. About 18 months ago, they said to Arafat, we were talking about the peace process, and they said Israel, Sharon won't agree with the Oslo Accords, and he says he will agree, he won't agree, let's go to hell. So all these brave folks who want to be martyrs, here's their chance. The Israelis are right in front of your door. They're walking the streets. How come they're all in hiding? How come they send little school children, schoolgirls and schoolboys to blow up supermarkets and pizza parlors and restaurants because they want to die, and the quicker they die, the quicker they're going to be with Allah. And the quicker they're going to have 72 virgins. Hey, the Israelis are right in your front door. They're right in the streets. Why don't you take a shot at them? But they're not doing that, are they? They're in hiding, scared, because the real men stand and fight in a military operation. The cowards hide, then go into a supermarket and recycle themselves as martyrs. You with me? Blowing up a supermarket or a pizzeria